ತಂದು ನೀಡು.
Thank you very much. When in the last committee meeting, I sort of suggested
Mike was just
actually, I suggested that I invented suggestion that we should take up some topic in which everybody is interested, including the family members. So first thing that came was medical. I think a lot of aspects of medical they have covered in the last 1 or 2 years. Then going round, finally they said, let's come to broadcast. And like that proverbial, people start saying, "Enda kalyan padikran, niye kondatiya illa." You have to give the lecture. Anyway, I'm standing in front of you. Broadcasting has got many aspects. The first thing that strikes you is it's a one-to-many system. Perhaps the most economical one-to-many system that you can find in this world. And second thing is, the objective of broadcasting is to inform, educate, and entertain. I don't know how much of these objectives we have met in present-day broadcasting scenario, but every broadcasting organization, the objective set out is to inform, to educate, and to entertain. Now, to give a small brief history of radio broadcasting. Broadcasting radio transmission first started in 1895 when Marconi transmitted a signal in Morse code. To translate that into music and talk, it took some years, and in 1905-1906, experiment was started. And in 1920-23, commercial broadcasting of music and talk started. The broadcasting in India started in 1st July 1924, and it may perhaps come as a surprise to you all that it was started by the Madras Presidency Radio Company.
the pocket.
But unfortunately, due to financial crisis, it wound up in 3 years' time. And so in 1927, this wound up, but a commercial entity called Indian Broadcasting Company started service in Bombay and Calcutta. By 1932, we also had financial crisis, and they wanted to close down. But by the time public had become so used to it that they clamored that it should not be closed, and Government of India took over in 1930. And in 1936, the present name All India Radio was given, and the government started having stations all over India, which were only then 6 numbers. That is Bombay, Calcutta, and Delhi, Madras, Lucknow, and then called Tiruchirappalli. Now called Tiruchirappalli. Of course, in the composite India we had Karachi, Lahore, and Quetta. They went to Pakistan after bifurcation. There is the story of broadcasting, and today All India Radio can boast of somewhere around 419 stations, covering 92% by area and 99% by population. This is only All India Radio I am talking about, not the other things. So somewhere around 70 or 80, a group of people went to Supreme Court and said, why should radio waves be government property? Even private people should have access to it. They won the case, and after that, private broadcasting started. Of course, there are some restrictions on private broadcasting. For instance, they cannot broadcast news. Only recently it has been relaxed, and they can broadcast news as it was broadcast by Alumni Radio, not by their independent source. See, Times of India has got Hindustan Times, so many, some, all of them are having newspapers, but they are not permitted to broadcast news which are not broadcast by All India Radio. But slowly the time is changing. So at one point time All India Radio had a complete control, sole monarch, but now almost relegated. I don't know how many people may present their children whether they know that there is something called All India Radio or not aware. Even if they know, they do not know as AIR FM station. They know only as FM station, or probably Rainbow or Amritavarshini or Radio Mirchi, Radio 1 and things like that. Now that is the same era of broadcasting. And one more thing I would like to mention is what goes into broadcasting. Now when I go somewhere and somebody asks me where are you working, you will do remote service, and even now I say I am an engineer in All India Radio. All India Radio engineer could have come lah. Because what they see is only the programs. They listen to the announcer, maybe the names come, and officially or otherwise people know the station director, and the man who is well known is program executive. Why is he well known? Because he approaches you, sir, you are an expert in the subject, please come and give a talk in All India Radio, and so the contract is established. And you may be aware that every talk, every music, every item that is broadcast has a component of finance. The talker or the musician is paid. And there are gradations, A, B, C and all that. And therefore the program executive is a well-known person. Next to him is the station director. Very few people know about engineer. But today, thanks to the practice in Doordarshan, you find now today program credit, you find also technical sahayata, so and so name is also coming. Now program person is the person who arranges the content. There has always been a conflict. Is the content important or medium important? If I don't have a transmitter, who can listen to it? But I have a transmitter, no program, then what is it that I am going to transmit? There has always been a conflict between the two, and therefore we stand always that broadcasting means technical, program, and the third is the news. There are three different wings through three different directors, and all of them join together with broadcasting. Now let's come to actual broadcasting. Broadcasting happens in three, time period of three locations. The first one, first one is studio. This is situated within the city. It is where the program is sourced. Now, here you will find a mic, a tape playback system, and now they have added a computer. Now the last one that doesn't come inside the studio building but is outside. It's called the outside broadcast or OB spot. Like for instance, cricket match, a music concert, or a lecture session happening somewhere. There the engineer takes all this equipment, installs a set of amplifiers, microphone, etc., and is then connected to the studio building. That connection can be either through a telephone line, and nowadays they use a microwave link also. Now, mic. There are basically three types of microphones. One is unidirectional, or in colloquial terms we can say talks microphone, music microphone, and drama microphone. Talks mean it is unidirectional. That is, the microphone is, you face the microphone and talk. Anything behind the microphone is not picked up. In the music, you can have both direction or sometimes an omni. Not actually omni, a figure of 8 type. In a drama or a discussion, it will be omnidirectional. So we have different types of microphones. And nowadays, these microphones are coming with various frequency responses also. So various discussions, various talks. Now music, we have more than one microphone placed in the studio, and it is the music director who decides how to distribute and things like that. Tape playback is something that is required because most of our programs are pre-recorded. But people who know music will understand that if I have a concert by Madhurmani and the concert is scheduled to broadcast in the night, he should sing a song which is appropriate for night. But poor man is made to sing it in the morning in the studio, and that gives a sort of problem. But we have to still do it because live programs have become very, very rare nowadays. Earlier we used to have the national program, the Friday concerts, they used to be live. Now live has become more or less gone. It's all pre-recorded. Once you pre-record it, you need a tape. Any playback system. It could be a disc, it should be a tape, whatever medium in which you record, and that has to be played back. Computer now has become, because nowadays what has happened is you have this playlist and all that. So people have come, they are phone in saying, I want to listen to this, I want to listen to this. Now it's easy to take it when you have a computer memory. So that is coming up slowly now. Now these can be switched to a program amplifier. And this program amplifier is then sent to LA, means line amplifier. Why we need that is, if we go to the next. Now all this happening in the studio. For instance, in Bangalore it's in Rajbhavan. In Madras it is at the beach. That is where the IG's office, Gandhi statue. There is the studio building. Now this has to be connected to the transmitter so that it is transmitter. And transmitter of its requirement cannot be within the city. I'll give you a small rider on that. It can be in the city, but we are talking about earlier days or even today when medium wave broadcast is there. Because medium wave broadcast has got the largest range. We'll come to that later. So therefore, it has to come to the transmitter. Now these two have to be linked. That link is either through telephone line, which is permanently laid between the studio and the transmitter, or a microwave link, provided I am able to get a line of sight. Mostly it is on a telephone link. Telephone line has inherent losses. As the length goes on increasing, the high frequency goes down. Therefore, if the program that is made in the studio, the same fidelity, same quality should be maintained, we need to correct this loss. For that, we have an equalizing lambda. I can also have one here at the end. But if I have here, whatever loss has happened, if I want to boost it, it will boost along with the noise. Therefore, my signal to noise ratio will not be good. So what we do is we pre-equalize. That is, we boost it so that when it gets lost, it becomes flat again.
Is it transmitted to the base frequency base, or it is modulated?
It's audio only.
Audio
it's only
only.
an audio.
Not modulated.
No. It's audio. All this is audio. Up to this point, it's all audio. I have not come to
modulation.
All this is audio. Audio means a frequency from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. That means ear cannot hear anything above 20 kilohertz. Therefore, the audio frequency is only 20 to 20 kilohertz. Now, from here it comes, it is amplified. Now, this by itself cannot go. 20 kilohertz cannot travel. It needs a carrier, something to, so that this is carried. And that carrier is the RF or the radio frequency. So here in the transmitter, you find this is the generator or oscillator we call it. This is a basic RF generator, radio frequency generator. And then it is amplified for power. 1 kilowatt, 5 kilowatt. Bus cutter has got 100 kilowatt. Now, how do we put this audio onto this carrier so that it can be transmitted? That process is called modulation. And in this modulation, there are two types of modulation as far as broadcasting is concerned. One is the amplitude modulation, where all these RF waves are sinusoidal. And the amplitude of the sinusoidal wave is changed. Then it becomes an amplitude modulation. In the other case, the frequency is changed, therefore you get a frequency modulation. So that is the one that is done here. And then it goes to the antenna. Now between the antenna and the modulator, there is a line called transmission line. This is not the same as this. Here we are dealing with very low frequencies. Here we are dealing with high frequencies. Now, before I go to the antenna, let me tell you the bands we have. The antenna is band 1. Earlier, low frequency band is there, LF, which is usually used only in maritime. That is ship to ship, ship to shore communication. For radio broadcasting, we go on to the BD wave band. BD wave band is 550 kilohertz to 1620 kilohertz. And each station is separated by a bandwidth of 9 kilohertz, separation of 9 kilohertz. The medium wave frequency is mostly ground wave. That means it will travel along the ground. And therefore, as it travels along the ground, there is a lot of attenuation, and for the range is limited. If you take a 1 kilowatt, let's take 100 kilowatt in Moscow day. 100 kilowatt transmitter is typically a range of 200 to 250 kilometers on ice, or 300 kilometers. Beyond that, medium wave cannot be heard. So if I have a lower power, the range becomes still smaller. For that, we need a vertical antenna. And therefore, a medium wave station has got a limited range. What we are now trying to do is, we put two transmitters and parallel the output. 100 plus 100, 200. That's what happened in Moscow. But as an example, I'll give you the Karnataka state. All of you have seen the Karnataka state map. And you know Bangalore is at one corner. The rest of the state is here. So if I have a transmitter and if it is reading all over, there's a lot of power being wasted this side there. Mostly it's Tamil Nadu. So we have a reflector here. It reflects the whole thing back. So we have an antenna system with a reflector, or Doordarshan antenna we call it. That's why if you go to, whenever you go past Hoskote, you will find there are two towers. One tower is the radiating tower, other is the reflector. So all power. With this, what happens? In the direction in which it is directed, with the same 2 into 100, 200 kilowatt, you get, the listener gets a feeling as if it's 300 or 400 kilowatt power is coming through. It's a direction antenna. So now this RF, this line, I told you there's a difference between this line and this line. This being audio, any telephone line will do. As I told you, in a telephone line, the higher the frequency, higher the loss. Here we have the higher frequencies. So ordinary telephone line will not work. So we have to specially design the transmission lines which have got special characteristics, special impedance, such that this transmitter output and antenna are connected. Each antenna has also got an impedance. It's an active element and it has got an impedance in 50 ohms or 75 ohms or 250 ohms. Depending on that, this transmission line is, so it's matched here, and maximum power loss. Till now any question? Your FM? Okay. Only thing is this antenna will be different depending upon the frequency. For a medium wave frequency, for those of you who know what is called a polarization, it's vertically polarized and therefore all medium antennas stand straight. And incidentally, they are also at the bottom there is an insulator. It is not grounded. There is an insulator and over the insulator the whole tower stands. 120 meters stands by means of the guy wires. It's a really a dynamic problem, and because if the medium gets grounded, there is no transmission possible. Unlike short wave where towers are grounded, but the wires are only standing. When I come to short wave, that is 3 megahertz to 30 megahertz, it's horizontally polarized and all the antennas remain horizontal. If you have a receiver area, you put a wire, you get the short wave without any problem. When you go to VHF, again the same horizontal. But VHF propagation is something different. I'll come to that when I come to propagation. So the antenna here will depend upon the type of propagation network. So when I have made a wave which has got a limited range, and if I want to increase the range, I have to go to a higher field, frequency field. That I go to short wave. But in short wave, it works not like this. It works in a different way. In short wave, the wave goes to the atmosphere, and there is a layer called ionosphere where it gets bent and comes back to the earth again. So I can, depending upon the angle, it's all these RF behaves exactly like light. You have a torch light. If you put a torch light in different angles, it will go in different way. Similarly, it also goes. So depending upon which area you want to contact, you put the ray going into that direction. So if I want Middle East, I will arrange from Bangalore in such a manner that 22 degrees, and at a particular period of time, this is the ionospheric height. From there, it will go to Middle East. Earlier, we used to use this for regional broadcast. If you earlier younger people will know, older people will know that Madras had, even now it's there, shortwave transmitters there. It will cover only the Madras region. It will not interfere with others. So like that we have shortwave. In fact, Vivid Bharati, when it started, we started with one at Bombay and one at Madras, one they are there. The shortwave transmit such that the two together used to cover almost the entire Indian continent. So that is shortwave. When they come to UHF, VHF, UHF, they are all again line of sight propagation. Just like light. If you put a light, how far can you see? If you increase the illumination, you can see further. But there is a limit beyond which you cannot increase the illumination, you cannot do anything further, and therefore it gets limited. So therefore all these UHF, VHF transmitters have limited range. And today all these UHF, VHF are used only for frequency modulated broadcasts, FM broadcasts. That's why you'll see any of your, if you are listening to an FM in Madras, same frequency you go to Madras, you will not do this. Same frequency you go to another place, you cannot listen, because typically the FM transmitters are never more than 1 kilowatt with an antenna gain of 10, that means 10 kilowatt power, and about 70 kilometers is the maximum distance. Beyond that you cannot get. Therefore, any program from Bangalore if you want to give, you cannot go beyond 70 kilometers. If I have to give the same program, then I need to have another transmitter there which will relay this. So therefore, that's not done. It's usually they become more regionalized. And therefore, you have one in Davangere, one in Madras, one in Mysore, like that. Or if you have in Madras, you have one Tuticorin, one Tirunelveli, Madurai. They have all limited ranges catering to a particular limited thing. If they want to go for regional, they have to go for short wave. Now coming down, now come to the rear. Now depending upon the type of transmission I have the antenna also in the receiver. If I have a medium wave antenna, if it's a short wave, it's UHF, they are different. And you know, in VHF, UHF, you have what is called the Yagi antenna with a directional antenna. Receiver, nothing exactly reverse of what we have done here. And then comes to the speaker. You know, the main thing that we want to keep is that the fidelity. That is, when the program started here, whatever quality was there, same quality should come. This is the endeavor. But usually, it's never perfect. Because I think it is Shirde who said that no desert is absolutely dry, new liquid is absolutely wet, and no ball bearing truly round. So similarly, you cannot expect the studio quality to come to the receiving end. But we do make effort to see that the quality is maintained. And that is one of the reasons why the transmission is now going slowly to digital. As you know, the digital has a better quality because the noise suppression is very high. When you in an analog system, when an amplification takes place, the noise also gets amplified along with the signal because it doesn't make any difference to them. But when you come to digital case, the noise gets suppressed. There is no modulation of noise, and therefore the noise is suppressed, and therefore digital signals are very good. In fact, the latest technique is using the same amplitude modulation transmitters. There's a technique standard that I developed called DRM, Digital Radio Mondia. Use the same AM transmitter but give digital signals. And of course, you need separate receivers, digital receivers for that. It's already done, it's already being broadcast in India and several places, including the shortwave transmitter that's located in Jodhpur. But the receivers are still costly, and therefore they have not come up yet. Now, the most important thing that we should notice is that broadcasting, as I told you, has an object of informing, entertaining. Now, this is more educative. It is mostly target oriented. A certain type of information which Ravi Shankar requires may not be required by Srinivas. A type of music which Mr. Padmanabhan is enjoying, somebody else will not be able to enjoy. And therefore, this complexity of programming is very important. And initially, we had in All India Radio called audience research. These people used to go to randomly, they will go to say January 6 block, select some 10 houses, talk to those people. What are the program you like, what are the program, how you received. Based on this feedback, programs used to be held. I don't know whether nowadays they are doing it or not. But because nowadays the program doesn't seem to be target oriented, but the people seem to be targeted to the station concern. But there is a lot of talk about sponsored program and things like that. Now, the question that people normally ask is, why can't I listen Madras in Bangalore? Am I right? I told you, Madras has got the higher power of 200 kilowatts an hour. The range of that 200 kilowatt transmitter is even with the direction, because Madras also is situated like Bangalore, one corner of Tamil Nadu. And one side is all totally sea. There is no point in sending any signal towards that side at all. So it has certain amount of directional characteristics. In spite of it, it cannot go beyond 200 to 300 miles or 350 kilometers. So there is an inherent problem of propagation, being medium wave propagation. It cannot go beyond that. And incidentally, if on the land you travel 100 miles, if whatever signal level you are getting, you will get it same signal level on the sea you will get if you go 1.5 times more, because on the water propagation is better, attenuation is less, whereas on the ground it is less. Shortwave transmitter has got a long range, but depends on the ionosphere. But every ionosphere is dependent on the sun. So, depending if the sun is at the maximum, that the ionosphere becomes thinner, and then it becomes thicker. So, the frequency keeps on changing. And ionosphere doesn't also remain steady; it keeps on moving up and down, down. So, shortwave transmitter is never steady. What we call as fairy signal is never steady. So you cannot say I will give a 100% all the time correct signal. But shortwave is very good because you can give reliable service for many other countries. In India has got several external services. External services in Burmese, Ceylonese, Nepal, English, French, Arabic, so many services. It also has got special services going to Australia, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, all the languages, depending depending upon that. And that mostly goes on shortwave. But the signal strength and the reception conditions do not give you a steady thing. But still, if you are sitting somewhere in Australia and you are listening something happening in Madras, even if it is weak, you still start listening to it. But the scenario is slowly changing. Now what is happening, in fact that was what I suggested in the beginning, what we call as delivery methods. Okay, how the person transmits is not your concern. As a listener, you will consider how much I receive, what I want can I receive. So slowly the broadcasting organizations are changing to their modes. So I told you one to many. Because when I have a transmitter and transmitting it, as many number of people who have receivers can surround and listen to it. Now, keeping into condition the present situation, everybody is going into webcasting. You can get your radio on your TV, on your cell phones, on your tablets, on your computers, or whatever it is. AeSI Bangalore.in. If you put there, you can see what are all the programs, and you can listen to them sometimes even live. So that is one method that is coming out. Another method which was done, many of you might have seen, that in smaller towns, what they were doing is so many people could not afford to have radio receivers. What they used to do is in a park they will put a loudspeaker, and into that loudspeaker they will put the radio program. Now this went on, and finally the All India Radio has a project called community listening. Under that, low power transmitters were authorized to transmit programs for very small areas. You have transmitters in universities. There is one in Hoskote, which has got about 10 kilometers radius, which broadcasts local news, particularly medical information for the women and children, and then statutory announcements like a municipality notifications and things like that, and of course encouraging talent like children singing or ladies or child who want to be a music performance. So the community becomes small. In their case, that this becomes very simple. They have only one studio which is called multiple studio. They have only one or two mics and one auto recording table. Many of them become mobile and they go to the place, record and come back. This community listening is slowly coming up, and anybody who wants to do it can do it. Only he needs the resources and should be popular. If his program is popular, he becomes popular. Now, I just thought I'd tell you something about the studio. Why is an AI studio different? hope you are not getting bored. When I talk, we just carefully listen. When I talk, you find my words are coming, slowly dying. Now, this we calculate called reverberation time. That is the time taken for a sound to die, 60 dB or 1 millionth of its original power. It's called the reverberation time. Now, if I take a studio in which only talker is talking, we allow this echo to come, then the talk gets warbled and there will be no clarity. So that particular studio will be treated such that the sound is absorbed and these echoes are not there. Actually, reverberation can be defined as tight reflection of echoes, successive echoes. So, but if I use that absorption, the music will become bad because music is live only when it is vibrant. Harmonic should come, certain amount of echo should be there, but not too many. So there the reverberation time should be different. If it's 0.8 for talk studio, it's around 0.4 or 3 for 5 for music studio, and in between from a drama studio. Now how do we achieve this? Well, in nowadays it used to be mostly the identity radio people used to bother about acoustic. Today everybody is bothering about acoustic. Even your building you need acoustic. Your hall needs acoustic. Your music auditorium needs acoustics. College auditorium needs acoustics. So acoustics has become a part of all, even curriculum like civil engineering, architecture engineering, and all this. And therefore, the acoustic methods are also developing. We had nowadays cellotax, only cellotax, and the flooring used to have linoleum, and the roof used to have the cellotax sheets. And one thing we did was make the walls non-parallel and the roof non-parallel. How do you make the roof non-parallel? So make it corrugated. Because once you have parallel wall, reflection start coming. Once you break it, the reflection stops. This is a simple thing. Then they develop what we call as resonators. That is, you have boxes of wood with some slits, so that it resonates at particular frequency and therefore absorbs them. Now that is now become very, very popular. They are called wooden panels. They have wood panels for acoustic treatment. So that is the beauty of studio. And you can't therefore broadcast in any room you like. If you try to do broadcast from your house, you will find there will be no clarity in what you talk at all. All will be warbled. So that is the specialty of studio. And not only treat the door has to be there. One has to enter and come out. The door also will be massive. It will be such thick with all the material put so that the door when is closed, not a single sound goes in nor sound comes in. So that is the peculiarity of studio, apart from the fact that it has different characteristics in different studios. Now, let's talk something about OB broadcast. Sorry. In OB broadcasting, let's take cricket commentary because that's the most probably common for everybody. There will be a box like structure, usually at a height and normally in line with the pitch. Now, because we want the commentator's voice should be clear and people who listen can get it clearly, naturally we don't allow sound from outside to come in. But if we have a commentary with there is no noise, then it's as good as playing it from the studio. And it will not give the feeling that you are in a ground. So we have separate microphone kept outside which will pick up this noise. It's called the effects microphone. And judiciously mix it such that the listener gets a feeling as if he is there. But today you may find strange what I am telling because most of you see it in the television and you see the batsman hitting or fielder fielding or whatever, and therefore commentary becomes redundant. You can't say Dravid hit and somebody hit. No, that you don't do it. But in olden days, when there is no TV, and you are relying only on your ears, you need to say that. So, if supposing somebody hits a six and everybody is clapping and no noise is coming, you don't hear it, then you don't feel, even if the commentator says, oh, it has gone for a six. So, therefore, we put that FX microphone and judiciously use them. Similarly, we have to use these type of effects for a program, for instance, drama. Just giving you some idea, which are of course perhaps now rudiment now. I want to give an echo effect. So every studio block will have one room untreated, in which there will be a microphone and a loudspeaker. So through the loudspeaker you put those words, pick up the microphone. It's an untreated room, so you'll get echo, boom, all that. So that is fed into the mixer and is given. One of the earliest things we used to do is you were standing and talking in front of a huge mountainous country. You'll get some sort of a vibrating voice. How do we produce it? In olden days, what we used to do is we used to put a big drum. So we put a microphone at one end of the drum, and the band speaks into that drum surface. It gets vibrated and the vibration is picked up by the mic. Sometimes you pour sand to give that But nowadays what has happened is all this is pre-recorded, and whenever wants anybody the recording is pushed in. And those are the days when ingenuity was there. Today I think ingenuity is slowly suffering, not only in broadcasting but everywhere, art, craft, everywhere it is. So these are the various nuances of broadcasting. I think if you people want to know something, welcome. I think almost I covered all.
Sir, this ham radio operators.
Yeah, ham radio operator doesn't come under broadcasting.
What is the base?
Ham radio is an amateur radio. There are certain bands allocated by the frequency mode, ITU, in which you operate, that is mostly for your pleasure. Amateur radio or ham radio is usually for pleasure. You want to do like a hobby. So what has happened is that so many people are doing hobby, they are formed into a circle or association, and ham radio has come. And because of their resourcefulness, they have equipment which cost less, but at the same time are able to get a good propagation, good transmission conditions. Mostly they operate in short wave, in that 41, 49 meter band, 25, 31 meter band, which is supposed to be a good day. But then as I told you, it's conditioned by the time of the day, the ionosphere. But they have been very popular for the simple reason that during calamities, during disasters, like for instance tsunami that we had some few years ago, they can move their equipment, put it wherever they have. So what they need is power. Probably some of them also battery, and then they'll radiate. Now, thank you for saying that, sir, because I remember now. Our first batch, Mr. P. Krishnan Kuti, VUTPP, that was his call sign. VUTPPK. He was so popular that Turkey, I think somewhere in Russia, and the latest tsunami, he was the only communication channel for the entire world. So two men died 2 years back. So that is ham radio. Anybody can operate. There is one condition. You have to go to the wireless ministry. There is a test. You have to pass. In those days, 12 words per minute Morse code. But today, I don't know. They are insisting because you are first to go on Morse code. Only after they find that you are a reliable chap, then they will give you a voice. So therefore, after you get the license, you are at free liberty. And a lot of people excel. You can even contact people in Denmark, Norway. They are all very enthusiastic. DX, that's called. That is the reception condition. So that is him right now.
How come they can have so much power so they can be heard anywhere in the part of the world?
No, that they use the short wave. The short wave, some of the hams are up to 1 kilowatt. Second thing is they can also use the antenna gain. But they are all rich people in the sense that they're the passion, when you have a passion, money doesn't come to the picture. You know that. Whether it's ham or painting or anything, when you have got passion, money doesn't come to the picture. They do a lot of things.
This is something which I have raised to you a couple of times. In a music concert, why the announcement is always live and the music is pre-recorded. This announcement also can be recorded along with
Yes,
the
you are
play, so the
very right.
same strength of signal.
No,
There is a lot of variation between the announcement and the music program.
You are right. I didn't go into the details of this studio. I just said microphone amplifier. But if you go into the microphone, the signal from microphone is very low, somewhere around minus 70 dB or so. So it needs a preamplifier. And if you had more than one microphone, so each microphone has a preamplifier, and the preamplifier of all these three port output is mixed and goes to a program amplifier. So announcer has got a microphone separately. Their playback system has a separate microphone, and it is the duty of the job of the engineer to see that these two amplifiers are the same gain. When that failure takes place, what you say happens. And what happens is, announcer is there, but the playback becomes different. Today what is happening with the sponsored program, you are doing in one standard, he is doing in one standard. Earlier we were saying this level is not this, we used to reject it. Today